We're ready.
Yeah, I feel kind of special because it's almost like there's a documentary of us doing our show.
Yeah, people can't see it, but we got cameras all around us, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, at least a couple of them.
Okay.
All right. So before we get too far along, this is Watching Amazon, and you are, sir.
The bold one, the cold one, John Colder Ice Lawson.
And I'm Brent Leary.
That's Brent Leary.
I feel like I have to do that twice because I'm looking at this one, and now I'm going to look at this one. I'm Brent Leary. All right. So it's like picture in picture going on.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm getting kind of confused. Anyway. All right. So we're actually at your domicile, right?
Yes, we are in my solarium. Welcome.
Is that what it's called, solarium?
Yes. It's a sunroom.
It's a sunroom. Man.
Yeah.
There ain't no sun in this room right now.
Not today, man. It hasn't been for weeks. I'm sick of the same
The rain
weather.
is just getting on my damn
It
nerves.
is.
It's just
the same
terrible.
weather every day.
Every day is the same thing. You got like a moat going on, and you're coming into your cul-de-sac.
Oh, really?
Oh man, it's like all sorts of like almost. I could have just took a nice dip in the little moat you guys have going.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's too much rain.
A lot of rain, bro.
Anyway,
what?
The big news though.
Big news.
I mean, like everybody was watching this thing last night.
Really? Were they? Seriously?
Well, at least
on PBS.
Yeah. Well, what's wrong with PBS?
I'm just saying, it's not like everybody.
I am a PBS Passport member. I love PBS. They got some good stuff.
Really? I wish you would give more so they wouldn't have to do the fundraiser.
I'll tell you right, next week, although I like what we're going to talk about, I like that a lot, but next two, I feel like now I'm should
You're
be
doing
on,
the PBS thing? Go ahead.
They're
give them a
doing
plug.
one on Miles Davis.
Oh, okay.
I cannot wait for that because he's one of my musical Mount Rushmore folks. So.
Yes.
All right. But anyway, until next week, let's talk about what happened last night. It was,
What was this? What was it called?
Well, first of all, it's part of PBS's Fireline. I think that's what they call it, Fireline.
Or was it Frontline?
Frontline, Fireline, whatever it is. Frontline series, and so it was all about you get the actual. I'll find it. The actual title of it was Amazon Empire: The Rise and Reign of Jeff Bezos.
The Rise and Reign.
And I tell you what, it was like an hour and 53 minutes.
2-hour show.
And I sat there and watched the whole thing and didn't even realize how long it was. Because it was just nonstop. I mean, right from the very beginning, which, talked about the beginning of Amazon and Bezos, all the way to the end. And it was no dull points for me. It was everything that they talked about was a certain milestone. And we said, you know what? This wasn't really anything new to us.
No, because we've been watching Amazon for years.
That's true. We have been watching for years. So it was almost like, it felt like a greatest hits album because you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, I do remember that. But it was so many things that they have been at the forefront of. To see it kind of brought into a 2-hour period. Yeah. Where you're seeing all of it.
You know what they didn't talk about?
What's that?
The Amazon phone.
Yeah, they didn't necessarily go over some of those other.
But that's really awesome. I think that's a lesson for everybody, especially if you're an entrepreneur. I mean, people won't remember the things you failed at. They won't. When you have that many wins,
that's what I was
just
doing.
Keep winning.
So
keep winning.
when you're able, and they talk about the fail fast. They try a lot of stuff, but when they see it's not working. That's, they get rid of it and they keep moving. That's how they get to all these things they do. But anyway, overall, your general impressions.
Overall, my general impression was, coming from my perspective of doing this show for so long and hearing it, it was okay. I didn't really learn anything all that new. It tried to be provocative at the end, like to me, overly tried. So it was like it went from journalistic kind of here's what's going on to almost kind of creating a narrative of watch out for Amazon, or you know what I'm saying, as opposed to being a little bit more fair and balanced with that part.
It did seem like they were trying to get a little bit of the negative stuff, kind of provocative kind of stuff,
like over and over. It's like bam bam bam, all and it didn't go deep into it. But it's like almost when they started the thing where the box was going down the And then from that, they went to this, to that. You know what I'm saying?
None of the workers
was in the video. I'm like, they're not in the video because they're not singing. The box is singing.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah, they were trying to, be a little bit more provocative, try to present some of the, the negative voices.
Which I do. I mean, that's
that.
me. That's part of my role somewhat on this show, too. I get it.
Yeah.
You
are the negative.
I'm not the negative.
The
I'm just
cop.
Provocative. I'm the interesting one. And then you have Brent Leary.
Yeah, okay. Moving right along. All right. I'm going to give my impressions now after that. Thanks for the build-up on that. So, like you, we've been watching it for so long that I didn't feel like a lot of new stuff came out. I just felt like, oh, yeah. But it was seeing it all just encapsulated in that time frame and all that they've done over a 25-year period. And the one thing that was really, I think, that just stuck with me was at the very beginning where they talk about a 12 or 13-year-old or some kind of like teenage Jeff Bezos wrote in this school yearbook about the need for man to go to space because Earth is infinite. I mean, finite.
Finite, yeah.
And in order for us to grow, we're going to have to go to space. And then they talk about how much money he's invested in that space company that he's trying to basically look like colonize places in outer space for humans to go. So that just struck me because it's like this guy, a 12 or 13-year-old, I'm talking about, will Dr. J get 40 tonight? That's what I'm thinking about. Or what my man Gary Maddox for the Philadelphia Phillies, will he get a home run tonight? This dude is talking about man's need to go to outer space because where we live right now is a finite place. That's just a whole other level of thinking.
Yeah, he's just a geek.
He's just a geek, but there are a lot of geeks.
There's a lot of geeks.
There are a lot of geeks, but there are not a lot of geeks
that make it all the way through. I get it. I mean, he's a special, this is a special case.
Yeah.
And then they ended you notice they did wrap that up. Right, because the last thing was him on stage talking about
it. What did he say? What was that last comment he said?
He said something about because
big things start small.
Big things start small. That was it. Yeah.
And that was a testament to when how he was thinking when he was at the hedge fund, and that stat he said that when he saw that the internet was growing like at 2,300% annually. He was like, it's a no-brainer. I have to figure out a way to get in on this.
Yeah.
And the fact that the way that he talked about how he chose selling books, because books, there's an endless supply, there's an endless category, and there's no one bookstore that can have it all.
That long
so
tail.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
I mean, to say that from the very beginning, it wasn't even about just selling books. It was about having that infinite.
Yeah, whatever.
It was, see, that's the kind of stuff that got to me.
I'm not saying whatever to what got to you, but I'm like, yeah, sure you did. You can say that. Everything's hindsight. I don't know how, like he was talking about the actually making a profit. I don't know if he really, really thought he wasn't going to make a profit for that many years. But it does, I get it.
But if he was telling investors that, he had to have thought it out.
He did, but I don't know how far in.
I mean, we always talk about that annual.
True.
1997, he wrote that shareholder about customer obsessiveness and all. I mean,
and even people when they were saying that when we were a small company in that one room, he was always obsessed with the customer.
Right.
So I think that is really he never really talked about. They didn't talk about where he got that from.
They didn't talk about all that.
I would love to know what.
Because he was at a hedge
something
fund.
had a it's not like you have customer you just move money.
Right. So how did it get so ingrained at such an early part in his life?
Somebody screwed him.
He went all in.
He bought something out of the back of the comic book. Never got his stuff. You remember those?
Remember his mama even tried to tell him not to quit his hedge fund job.
Well, my mom told me not to quit mine.
Well,
did your mom tell you?
That's understandable, but I'm just saying, but he went with what And he talked about the birth of Alexa, about how that came about from his fascination with
the Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
I would have thought it might have been, 2001: A Space Odyssey, but that's okay. Yeah.
No, I mean, but yeah, Mother. But I mean, Star Trek.
Once again, I don't know
was
where
the
you
computer.
There is no mother in 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I don't know. Whatever the other. That's Alien. The Alien had mothers.
Yeah. Well, we aren't talking about aliens
anyway,
or mothers. Well, anyway.
I'm just getting them confused.
Yeah, that's what I'm used to.
I get it. I found that interesting.
Yeah.
I also found how I'm so glad that I don't use Alexa. I didn't like that whole section.
But that's the kind of stuff that you're hearing more about. But let's face it,
I didn't like the responders and
those
the
guys
way
are put on the spot.
Yeah, but they were creepy. Both of them were pretty creepy for me.
I don't know about creepy.
Well, the first
what
guy.
What can you say about some of that
The
stuff?
thing is, when they asked him about, did you put out the Alexa without letting the user know that you use humans to do some of the understand? His response.
He said, yeah, we did.
Exactly.
But when we realized how big it is,
he did some kind of weird like.
Well, he tried not to say, kind of the obvious was, we wish we had done it differently or whatever. We're on watching eBay apparently all the time.
No, it's not that. It's just that Amazon has never sent me a cup.
Jeff, if you are listening right now, could you please send
Can we get a cup?
A cup of some sort.
Yeah.
Just make sure there's no Alexa device in the cup.
No, but that's what really was just like, it was so amazing. So then after talking about Alexa, then they talk about the Ring that's coming out, which is an actual physical ring.
Well,
what was the other thing that they talked about? Another device. How many
then
devices?
They started talking about all the different devices, like
that
the loop. Oops.
Yeah. And so it's just like,
make sure I got that.
Are these things here for the consumer, or are they here to hear what we're saying in our conversations?
That was what they were trying to be provocative about in the documentary.
Somewhat.
They made it. They were kind of making it sound like the main purpose for all the stuff that Amazon does is for just purely for data mining and for being able to, take that data and almost use it against us. Whereas we all know that they're collecting a lot of data.
You remember the brother in the interview?
Yeah, the co-founder of AWS.
Okay.
He said he turns his thing.
He says, I turn mine off. People got microwaves in the kitchen. You turning it off? Well, you going to unplug that? See, it's like they're putting devices in. The people that actually work for the company will turn their device off or worked with the company. You think, I'm like,
wait
man,
a minute,
I don't want that.
All right, to be fair, that guy, I believe he worked with Amazon from 99 to 2006 or 7. So he wasn't even around at that point. But I mean, point taken. I think that it's not just an Amazon thing, but all these devices, listening devices, companies, there are going to be some companies that stay on the good side, and there are going to be some companies that don't.
Here's the last, and this is the last thing I'm going to say about it.
All right.
Is that they were so into using it for police surveillance and identification and government surveillance and identification. That, ladies and gentlemen, was like, I'm throwing out all my little dots. I don't want none of that.
Some of those dots don't
I'm
have
just saying.
cameras.
I'm just saying. I thought it was weird.
Now, the one thing I don't think they have done a great job with, and I don't think it's ready for prime time. And one of the lady that was on that used to work on the AI stuff for Amazon said that the facial recognition stuff is not ready
working
for prime time.
Yeah.
Not
that it's not working, but it's yes.
It's not ready for prime time.
It's not ready for prime time.
It's not ready to put people's possibility of being charged for.
And part of that is why they're working with law enforcement.
Yeah.
Because they're going to help the AI learn better.
Yeah, but there's some general things with that facial recognition that it just got wrong. Like the darker you are, the less it got you correct.
You know why that is, right?
I have a couple of ideas.
It's a very simple idea, people.
A lot of black folks ain't working on this technology.
Exactly.
So
it's non-diversity in the coding.
Inherent biases. I'm not saying it's on purpose. I'm just saying inherent, because if you don't have a representative set of people working on some of these technologies, you're gonna get skewed. It's like if it's 99% dudes working on it,
yeah.
Guess what? There's gonna be some stuff that's gonna be skewed because dudes think in some ways dudes think differently than women.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a lot of black or brown or other kind of folks that are a part of this building process, there's going to be some
inherent
bias, and
that's a good word.
Inherent errors.
Yep.
Built into the system.
So
yeah, that's a big issue. That's one that it has to be dealt with and you have to worry about.
Right.
Now let's talk about the one, kind of the last thing that they talked about. The biggest threat to Amazon is not any competitor, because if you notice, there was hardly any competitor names even brought up.
Yeah.
Because they really don't matter, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, you're not going
to a certain extent.
It was an Amazon.
It was, but let's face it, all those things that we talk about, they kind of led the way. AWS made web services. Of course, I love how they pointed out Prime, how important Prime was to the growth. You talked about Alexa. You talked about the Kindle and how that's changed. Man, I started feeling pretty sorry for publishers.
Oh man, that was cold blooded. That was cold blooded. That was so gangster, man.
They got crushed.
And nobody. And you know, I don't like when people just bold faced lie. You know, the lady just like, I never heard that. I'm like, please, you know what I want to say.
Yeah, I'm glad.
But I'm like, come on. Don't say that. No, what am I, stupid? I've never heard that. Yes, you have. Let's deal with it.
So the publishing industry
is they really did strong.
They have to bow down, basically.
They totally did. I remember when there was some pushback, and then all of a sudden, it was crickets.
They said they couldn't even get any publishers to come on camera and talk about it.
Yeah, today. I mean, of stuff that happened 10 years ago.
That shows you. So, all right, setting that all up. Yep. For the government regulation. That was a big thing. That was the big thing at the end. Remember, like the first employee, I forget the guy's name.
Yeah, at the end, like, talking about,
I think it's time for it.
Again, though, it's like only people that really were used at the negative were ex-employees.
That's true. And we got to talk about...
Which I guess it makes sense, but yes.
We have to also talk about the folks working in the fulfillment centers. They had
the petty group.
They had a group of about 7 or 8 folks, and I mean, all that was an H fest. If you know what I'm saying.
Were just so petty. They're watching me.
Yeah, their main issues were it was hard to hit their marks, and when they hit their marks, they got upped. Mm-hmm. And then the other one was you're being watched all the time. You can't escape it. So that was their main. To me, that seemed like that was their main
issue.
It was. I didn't hear anything about. Well, there was some talk about the only safety conditions came into play because of trying to hit marks. That they did say, to try to maintain the safety regulations while hitting your marks. That was a big challenge.
But again, I think that was them just covering to make an issue, because if everybody is doing things that are not safe, there would be a lot more, OSHA complaints.
Right, and there was one part about it where they were talking about the drivers, because once again
that was interesting. That was interesting. That is something I'm going to do more research about, the drivers and how they put together contractors as opposed to employees.
Well, and it was similar to the discussion about third-party sellers, because that one lady was really like, you have third-party sellers. When a third-party seller sells something that ends up being bad or even
Amazon
causing
takes no
damage,
responsibility.
Amazon has no responsibility.
But I think that's really being overturned right now as we speak.
Might be, but
Amazon's actually starting to have to take more responsibility.
The problem, and they should.
They should. They're the seller.
So. But that driver thing about, I think she said that she had found 13 deaths around Amazon drivers, but
trying to make their quota.
Yeah, but they're not fully Amazon employees, they're contractors, and Amazon dismisses that as saying, that's.
And of course, that what really was interesting was the parity between them and other carriers were because all the other carriers have actual employees. If somebody gets killed by a UPS truck, UPS is going to be held responsible.
They're on the hook.
Right. But an Amazon driver, the person is actually on the hook for that.
Yeah. So
because they're just a contractor. That was interesting.
Even as we talk about this, they did cover so much ground.
Yeah.
It was amazing how much ground they covered in the hour, almost 2 hours. They briefly touched on him buying the Washington Post, but
that was good.
That was interesting because the guy, the book writer, he even gave Bezos credit for not getting involved at all
in the stories and the reporting.
Side.
Yes,
he bought it in order to kind of save.
Oh yeah, he came in. He totally saved the Post. He saved it. That was about to go under.
Right.
And he wanted to have that voice, or he thought it was a good voice to have in our country, to have, independent
and
journalism.
And I think that kind of sparked, maybe had a kind of a role in Mark Benioff buying Time Magazine.
It did.
And letting them do real journalism and not have to worry about clicks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, whatever.
But you notice.
Stop with the pop-ups.
But you notice the one thing that was kind of missing, there wasn't a whole lot of talk about his personality. There was some mentions of it, but it wasn't about him.
No.
Until they started getting into the little bit of the seedier stuff towards the end.
But it's never really been about him.
It really hasn't been, but it's all because he's the major force behind it. He's
okay, so here's another thing I know about, or not know about, but I've observed, is that while Bezos was always on the scene, as long as Jobs was alive, he never really came out of the closet. And now it seems to me like he's coming out.
Oh, when you say come out of the closet, you gotta,
Really? Do we?
Yeah, you gotta make sure
Jesus, it's like, really? Is that still a thing?
I think it is. But anyway.
I'm talking about the
Step into the forefront.
Coming out of the closet.
Step into the arena.
So I'm putting it back in the regular tent.
All righty now.
But anyway, I'm saying yes. You know what I'm saying? He was just kind of like, he would always sort of play the back role, and he was still doing amazing things by that time. But when you talked about technology, his name was not really in the
But
race.
Once again, AWS really didn't get started.
So you think that's the thing that made it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because before AWS, you're right, it was all e-commerce all the time. But all the while, they were building up their own internal technology capabilities. And then once they were able to do that, well, think about it. I remember years ago, they built up these capabilities because they had to meet, holiday selling season. Everything spikes up. Everything, all the technology needs spike up. But outside of those spike up periods, they had this huge, vast technology capability. What are they going to do with it? Let's offer it to other people so we can start, making money
off of selling.
And that's how AWS got really rolling. And that's when people started looking at them as.
But that's been, what was really good?
Yeah.
What I totally forgot about was when they invited all of the brands to have their own stores on Amazon. And I totally forgot about that.
I remember that.
But you see how fast and fleeting those bands got out.
The one was Borders. Because Borders,
they ate Borders lunch.
Borders was so full. Well, I understand it's kind of hard to go back and try to think in terms of 1999. But Borders was thinking, well, we got our bricks and mortar. We'll focus on that. We'll let Amazon.
I think they were like, we can't beat them online, so we'll join them.
Well, they were like, Amazon has got this thing going on online, which is not driving a lot of money.
It's only a small percentage of the
This will allow
business.
us to dip our toe in it while we focus on our brick and mortar. Amazon and they showed a whole bunch of logos that they did that with. And they were not only getting a piece of the transaction,
they were getting all the data. All the data. And I think that was the overarching theme of the entire thing. Start watching it from a data perspective.
They were a data company from the very beginning.
I think, well, I don't know if they were at the very beginning, but
they actually.
Well,
the number one employee said
yes, but
that
he
was
said,
really
well,
what
he said was that we realized,
right.
You know, I think that data revelation
like they could,
was just like, wow.
They could follow
and
every
what did he say?
piece.
What did he say? He was amazed at how predictable, people are.
Right.
See, that's why you ain't getting none of that data on me.
It's too late.
I'm going to get off Facebook.
You're already in the matrix, cuz. But I think that was so critical.
That was amazing.
They were able to track everything because everything was digital.
And really, so think about this. If you're in your business and what you're doing, they had very little data back then compared to what we have today, just the individual, you know, and they were able to make and put together data points that made sense. We need to be doing that with our customer database as well, just to find some areas that are going to help us be more predictable about what our customers are doing.
Well, the thing about it is data adds up quick today. You
It
can
does.
start out with nothing, and within a short amount of time, you know, click data, conversion data, transactional data, behavioral data, social data.
Pick one.
Oh, yeah, and
Pick one,
you'll
learn
start
that,
to amass it quickly.
And then start the next one, and then the next one, and the next one.
All right. So
Awesome.
What was the big ending? What did you learn in that'll help you go forward with watching Amazon? What are you going to look out for now after all that?
Turn off Alexa.
That is the funniest thing, because you know I've been always talking about Alexa from a shopping perspective. Didn't even talk about that.
You don't care.
That means it's nothing.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. I mean, people, it's like, it is what it is.
It is nothing now.
Yeah, but I
don't
think
know if it's
overall,
gonna be the case all.
you know, I really, for me, it was very confirming and affirming that what we're doing here with watching Amazon is really important. It's like we picked a good one. I'm gonna keep watching.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this. I think we did our very first incarnation of this at least 8 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. So the fact that
I can't
back
tell, 'cause
then,
I haven't aged.
Well, yeah, okay, folks. But at that time, there wasn't a whole lot of people actually doing
Watch
it.
it. Yeah, it was like, why do you
Yeah,
care?
what are you watching them?
Yeah, why do you care? It's like, oh, they just sell.
But last night, all you have to do is watch that thing, and you'll absolutely know why. It's kind of important to watch these folks. If you haven't been watching them and you haven't been watching us, you might want to start doing that.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of lessons coming out of that.
Agreed.
That's what I got.
Awesome, man.
And that's why we will be continuing to watch Amazon into the foreseeable future.
So keep up with what we're doing. Keep up. Keep up. I don't know what I said the first time.
Keep it. Yes, please keep it with us as we continue
So
to
keep
watch.
keep watching. Let your friends know. Share, like, and all that goodness. Give us some love. We're out of here, guys. Peace.